Tim Linder here. Let's talk about the animation presets for typography within After Effects. This can be a really quick way to get some nice stylized motion to some typography without much effort. And there's still the ability to customize it. So there are several presets that you could use for typography. I could, again, bring in some typography from Photoshop and change it to editable type, or I could come in here and use my type tool and add some type. Company man that I am, St. Louis Community College. Bring this in here. Let's say that I want to animate this over time. Oh, looks like I had another type layer down here. I'm going to get rid of that from another project or previous video that I was working on. Anyway, got some type in here and I want a nice title. I want some animation. I could come over to my effects and presets panel. If I don't have that, I could go to window and choose effects and presets. And I've got my effects and presets over here. And I could also take a look and jump down into the animation presets, the text presets, and I've got all kind of fun presets over here that I could choose from. If you've got Bridge installed, Bridge is kind of Adobe's file browser. It can be an interesting way to browse through and take a look at some of these presets without actually making a decision until you've actually seen kind of what it does. So if you kind of look at these animation presets, you're going to see the same ones here as I come in and I go to animation and then browse presets. Now before I choose this animation browse presets, I want to make sure that I have the layer that I indeed want to animate selected. If I don't, it's just going to add some dummy text and animate that for me. So I want to make sure that I have my typography that I want to animate selected, and I'm going to go up here and choose animation browse presets. And what that's going to do, it's going to open up Bridge for me. It might take a bit to launch Bridge. I already had it launched on my machine here, so it's moving through here, and I am going to take a look at some of these presets. Okay, so now that I have these presets selected over here, it automatically jumps into Bridge here, and just like with any other Adobe application, I could go to Workspace and go to any of these workspaces. I could reset the standard workspaces here, and I could go to Window, Workspace, and I've got Essential. So this may be what you're looking at if you are opening Bridge for the first time. And so I can look in here and say, okay, I want some text. And you'll see that these same options over here, notice text, synthetics right here and I kind of see After Effects behind Bridge here. In Windows machines, you may not be able to see back through or if you've got this window full screen, you may not be able to see back through to After Effects. But the way that I've got it set up, I can look at my After Effects presets panel, and these are the same folders that I see over here. So I can go to text, and then let's say that I wanted to do something blurs. I'll jump in here, and I don't want to double click. I just want to select one of these options just by clicking once, and you'll notice over here in my window, hopefully it's going to show up with a preview. Takes a little bit, and then I see a preview of what that preset is going to look like. I think I could scale it up a little bit here. Maybe not. It's not scaling up for me. So I can see my presets, what these preset animators can do, and I could jump back with my back button here. Like I said, Bridge is just a file browser, and I can browse any type of Adobe file, whether it's a Dreamweaver web file, and I'd be able to get a nice preview of that, or a Photoshop file, or these effects I can browse through. So let's go ahead and let's say I wanted to animate some tracking, and I come in here and I want to decrease or increase my tracking over time. So there's just tons and tons of them. I really like this. Let's increase the tracking. Looks beautiful. I'll double click on the once I've made a decision on the type. Preset undefined. Let's see if it actually applies here. I'm not sure what that error was on my machine. There it goes. It's working. I'll have to put a comment in the video. That's the first time that's come up for me. But anyway, it actually worked. I've got my tracking working here. It's moving through the tracking over time. Let's say I wanted to track this, but I don't like how it kind of tracks from the start there. What I can do if I wanted to track from the middle, I can open up Window, go to my paragraph panel, or down here I can look at my paragraph panel, and I can change that to center spacing. That way I can move this over now, since it's center aligned, not center spacing. And as I use my tracking, it's going to track out from the center there. Okay. So let's say that I wanted more or less tracking. I really wanted to track out over time. Right now I only got about 1 second it's tracking. If I were to open up my keyframes here, toggle this open. By the way, this is a great shortcut, great quick key combination to know. If you hit the U key, that is the Uber key, and will only open up any parameter that has keyframes in it within that layer. So remember our other keyframes, if we had this shut, if I hit P, I'm going to get position, or if I hit S, I'm going to get scale, or T for opacity. Well, none of these have any keyframes. I don't see any diamonds in there. But I wanted to get quickly to the row where I have some keyframes, and keyframes were automatically embedded, automatically created from this animator effect that I put into here. I could go through and I try to toggle these open and finally get to my keyframes down here if I wanted to adjust those. Or I could just hit the U key if I wanted to open up all of the rows with keyframes in them. And this is the only row that has keyframe in it, so it's going to show me this one. I want this to take place over time, a little bit longer, so instead of 1 second, maybe I want it to go for 4 seconds. And maybe I want it to start a little bit later or start a little bit sooner. I can drag that keyframe around. You'll notice it's not a regular keyframe either. It's an ease in and ease out keyframe. Let's say I want it to go really far. I want it to go further than what this actually, the tracking actually shows here. So I can come up and the tracking amount is set to 40. If I wanted to change that, I could roll over to this point in time where that keyframe is, and I can choose, instead of 40, I'll drag this way out and get something like 660. So now over the course of 3 seconds, I really have some tracking moving. So you can use these animated presets. Hopefully you won't get that error in there. It didn't seem to bother it though. It seemed to work fine on my machine. But you can use these presets to get some really nice, really fast results for animating your typography really quickly. And each one of these might have some different settings that you could choose from to really customize what you want. And again, you can play around with the keyframes. I can drag them further or closer together, or I can actually even swap them. So let's say that I flipped them around there. So now it's a lot of tracking down to no tracking. It all comes in that way. So you can customize it, but it's a great place to start for animating typography. And you can just drag your effects right on a layer, or you could go up and choose Animation, Browse Presets, and use that, and use Bridge to preview them.